All establishments and activities in areas under Alert Level 1 are now allowed to operate at full capacity or 100% capacity. Let's get some more details from Maricel Halili, who's reporting to us live from Mandaluyong City. Hi, Mase. Good afternoon. I guess it's easier to ask what restrictions are still in place. Are vaccine cards still required before entering establishments?
Hi, Sean. Let me clarify that resolution issued by the Interagency Task Force. Actually, there is nothing new with the guidelines which will be implemented under Alert Level 1. It's still the same. Full capacity in all establishments. We still have to wear a face mask. We still have to present that we are already fully vaccinated before entering any establishment. So it's an old resolution. The reason why Malacañang announced it earlier, the same resolution, is because it seems that they are still receiving queries about the guidelines on areas under Alert Level 1. So basically, it's just a reiteration of an old IATF resolution. So the guidelines on areas under Alert Level 1 is still the same.
Before we go on to the next question, Mase, I just want to clarify the definition of being fully vaccinated. Does this still mean receiving your first and second doses, or is it now included in the definition of fully vaccinated, the booster shot?
The definition of fully vaccinated, Sean, is still the same. They still haven't changed it because they are still waiting for approval or the redefinition from the World Health Organization. So for now, we're still following the definition of the World Health Organization, which is 2 doses. Once an individual got 2 doses, the first and second dose of the anti-COVID vaccine, it means that we're still fully vaccinated. We're already fully vaccinated.
All right, thanks for clearing that up. Now, with the easing of restrictions, has the palace responded to proposals to lift the state of public health emergency?
Actually, this is something that the Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, Secretary Joey Concepcion, wants the IATF or has requested the IATF to discuss. But for now, the members of the Interagency Task Force against COVID-19 still has to discuss whether or not to remove the public state of emergency declared nationwide, because they still have to consider a lot of things. First, if they lift the state of emergency, the emergency use authorization in all vaccines will no longer be applied. So all manufacturers of COVID vaccines have to reapply another certification to allow ordinary citizens to buy their own vaccine. So it'll be a long process, and they have to consider these issues before lifting the state of emergency with regards to the pandemic.
All right, thanks for clearing that up. Let's move on now to economic matters. We have inflation clocking in at 5.4% in the month of May. This is somewhere around in the middle, or just about in the middle of Bangko Sentral Governor Ben Diokno's estimates. What did the palace have to say?
It was actually asked during the press briefing of PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar earlier, and he said that the government continues to monitor the inflation rate in the country. The sad reality is that there are still some manufacturers who have already coordinated with the Department of Trade and Industry asking for another price hike. Earlier, during the Laging Handa briefing, Undersecretary Ruth Castelo even mentioned that there are 3 manufacturers who just coordinated with their agency asking for price hike for Pinoy Tasty and Pinoy Pandesal, for canned sardines, and I think for a detergent bar. Undersecretary Castelo said that it will take them about 3 to 4 weeks to study whether or not to approve or disapprove the request of these manufacturers. But of course, they have to consider the increase of raw materials and the increase of prices of petroleum. As for Malacañang, Secretary Andanar said that the government still continues to implement the programs which can actually help ordinary people to at least face this another inflation issues on inflation rate. He said that the government still continues to implement the distribution of subsidy to ordinary drivers, and just recently the Regional Wage Board just implemented 33 pesos increase on daily minimum wage of ordinary people, of ordinary workers. Sean.
All right, now speaking of sad realities, oil price hikes and inflation, there is of course another big time oil price hike that took effect today. Did the palace mention if the President Duterte, to be clear, is now considering the possible suspension of fuel excise taxes, or is he still no-go on this?
Sean, Secretary Andanar mentioned earlier that the policy and the principle of the current administration is still the same. They will not remove the excise tax on oil prices as advised by the economic team, because they feel that the revenues that the government will collect from these excise taxes will be of great help when it comes to giving benefits and ayuda to ordinary people. Now, of course, there's only 1 month left for President Duterte to impose such a policy. We have to wait and see what will be the decision of the next administration when it comes to the removal of excise tax on petroleum.
All right, so we'll defer that to the incoming administration. On another topic, and speaking of the next administration, will President Duterte be attending the inauguration of his daughter, Vice President-elect Sara Duterte, in Davao City on June 19?
I actually asked one of the Malacañang officials about the schedule of the president or his plans on June 12 and on June 19. According to this palace official that I cannot name because she is not authorized to give such details, she said that initially President Duterte has plans to attend a specific event, I think a particular event in Luneta Grandstand on June 12. That will be in connection with the Independence Day, but that's not yet final. And based on initial plan, he is going to attend the inauguration rites of Vice President-elect Sara Duterte on June 19. But these schedules are still tentative. We still have to wait for the confirmation from the Media Relations Office of Malacañang.
All right, thank you so much for all those updates. Maricel Halili joining us live from Mandaluyong City. Thanks, Mase.